Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all to our Sunday speaking series powered by Shubh Language Academy, the French House Jaipur. We are extremely fortunate to have with us our speaker for the day, Dr. Sneha Thakur. Thank you so much, ma'am, for accepting our invitation.
Thank you so much, sir.
And as you all can see, our today's topic is From Gurukul to Google, exploring the evolution of teacher-student relationships. It's a very impactful and interesting topic that we have for today. And even before we delve into the topic, I'd like to talk about our expert. Dr. Sneha Thakur is an educator currently serving at Manipal University, Jaipur. She earned her PhD in English from Banasali Vidyapeeth, where she also completed her master's as a gold medalist. Dr. Thakur, in her budding career, has extensive experience in academia with roles at Purnima University and a record of organizing and co-convening international conferences, festivals, and webinars. She has contributed to 4 international journals and 5 book chapters and presented papers at national and international conferences. Additionally, she holds diplomas in broadcast journalism and trauma counseling. Dr. Thakur is a dedicated professional with interests in language, literature, and academic development. Her areas of interest, they are South Asian diaspora literature, revision mythology, film reviewing. She's an avid reader of fiction and has an interest in photography too. Wonderful, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us for this session.
Thank
And
you
we
so much
really
for
look
having
forward.
me here.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. And just to contextualize a little bit of today's topic, which is From Gurukul to Google, exploring the evolution of teacher-student relationships. We see that the teacher-student relationships have evolved significantly in both global and Indian contexts.
Yeah,
Traditionally, India's Gurukul system emphasized respect, discipline, and holistic learning under a guru. Globally, teachers were seen as authoritative figures, imparting knowledge in structured environments. Today, the dynamics have shifted towards collaboration and personalization. Technology plays a vital role enabling digital classrooms and self-paced learning. In India, traditional respect for teachers still exists, but blends with modern expectations of mentorship and adaptability. Globally, teachers are facilitators, guiding students in critical thinking and problem solving. This shift highlights the need for empathy, innovation, and flexibility in fostering meaningful connections. And to get to know more about this topic, I would request our expert for the day, Dr. Sneha Thakur, to talk about and steer us through this topic. And the first question that we can have for ma'am is about this topic itself, that how do we understand the changing scenario of teacher-student relationship in present times? If you can start with that, and then I would be asking you further more questions, and in the end, we'll open the session for everyone. Over to you,
sure.
ma'am.
So the topic itself, the Gurukul to Google, and if we have to talk about more present day situations, so I would also add the AI. So how has the teacher-student relationship evolved over the time? So as Sir already pointed out, that traditionally we have been growing up like uh, having a certain image of who is a teacher and who is a student. So I would like to begin the discussion with taking us on a self reflection tour, that who do you feel is a teacher? What do you expect from a teacher? So, as already pointed out, we have always felt that teachers are the sole providers of knowledge. You can only learn from a teacher. Whatever the teacher says is absolute knowledge. He or she cannot do any wrong, say any wrong. Uh, Everything that they do, it's like something that is going to influence the students. And also emphasizing on the fact that because teachers were considered to be the sole imparters of knowledge, they were also expected to know everything. And what I have learned from my 4 year experience in academia and as a teacher is that you cannot know everything at all times. You also have to go back to some sources, you also have to read, you also have to keep polishing your knowledge, right? So our expectation from the teacher is that they will teach us something, they will provide us with something extraordinary or whatever. So from if we talk about the Gurukul era, um At that time, teachers were providers of knowledge, as far as I could understand. And from there, we shifted a little and we became the interpreters of knowledge. We interpreted whatever was said. Like when we teach literature, we say that this particular critique has said this thing about this particular work, and this is how he saw it, this is how she saw it. So we are interpreting the existing knowledge that is there for people around, like the students around us. Moving on to today, that is the internet and the AI era, we have become more like the facilitators of knowledge, because more often than not, we also find ourselves going back to the internet to get some quick knowledge, do some quick fact check. That's our go-to source too. And students are also completely dependent on the internet. So that has kind of stirred this whole discussion that, um, first of all, if we see broadly, what is the role of teacher right now, what is the role of the student right now, and how is the relationship between the two evolving. So yeah, that is there.
Right, absolutely, ma'am. You have rightly pointed out the fact that in the Gurukul system, how they were the sole providers, the imparters of knowledge, and how
Hmm.
things have changed and they have become facilitators. And even teachers who are updating themselves every now and then, they go back to the internet and they would update themselves and they would come towards students to impart new knowledge to them. So
Yeah.
how do you see this aspect wherein teachers attempts, there was a time wherein we couldn't have said that I don't know this, or as you rightly mentioned, that teachers were supposed to know each and everything. But
Hmm.
this evolving scenario around us, even knowledge is changing and it
Hmm.
is evolving. So how do you see this aspect of telling to oneself as a teacher that I have to upgrade myself, I have to accept the fact that I don't know everything, because we are still in that kind of mentality that once I'm a teacher, I should know each and everything. So
Yeah.
how to have that kind of softness towards oneself, to be a constant learner, and then to impart the same among learners as well. So if you can talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, sir. So, what I feel, first of all, I would like to give a disclaimer before anything I say, that I am very much young in this profession. So, my opinions might change after a few years. But till now, what I feel that teaching learning is as sir said, that you have to be a constant learner, you have to always be there, you have to update yourself. You cannot teach a class of 2024 with 2014 knowledge. You have to keep on upgrading yourself. Okay. And us coming from a culture that I like idolizes or defies teachers, it is really tough for us to have that acceptance that uh, we don't know something. Like, I would like to imagine all of you to imagine a scenario that you are in a class of, let's say, 90 students, and you are teaching something, and somebody asks you something out of the blue that you don't know. And now, how do you deal with that situation? Because you don't know, and you cannot just stand there and look it up from the internet and say. So I think we will be more at ease with such situations if we accept that we don't know. Like, as there's a famous saying that goes as, I know that I don't know. So having that acceptance and moving forward to learn from there. I'm not saying that you stop after saying that I know that I don't know. You have to keep on continuously like polishing yourself. And like, it is actually work, and it is something that has to be done continuously, and you can only do it after if you are engaging yourself in a lot of reading and meeting a lot of people from your field. We like in academia, we sometimes underplay the importance of networking that comes. We But actually the networks help you grow a lot. So that is there.
Absolutely. I think the more we network, we get to know about how we have to upgrade ourselves, what is happening in the society, in the knowledge domain. And at the same time, we get the power to understand and to say the fact that you rightly mentioned. The more I learn, the more I get to know how less I knew. So
Hmm.
that's how we move ahead. I'd like to share a little picture with everyone here that was floating on the internet some time back. And I'm sure that would give some thoughts to our mind as to how things have evolved with teachers and students. So I don't know if that picture is clear. Is it visible to everyone? So we can see in 50 years, a lot has changed. So it's a picture that talks about 1961. And like the parents are asking the child, what's the meaning of these marks? And the teacher, you see, is very confident and that I've done my work well. The child didn't
Hmm.
study, the student didn't study. And if we see 2011 or maybe in the contemporary times, that we
Hmm.
have to be responsible of everything that is happening. So the parents are like, they're totally on the teacher. They're saying, what's the meaning of these marks?
Hmm.
So, how do you see this shift, ma'am? Do you think is it an exaggeration, or is it really there, or there's some kind of partnering that has to happen because it cannot be one sided. It cannot be student centric or completely teacher centric. As in centric in the sense, yes, of course, the student has to be in the center, but we cannot. It has to happen through a collaboration or a mutual commitment and agreement. So, how can we understand this picture in contemporary scenario?
So, sir, actually, if you ask me that this picture is not an exaggeration, this is quite
Okay,
like
reality.
right in the it's the reality that because now when we have actually fed this to the younger generation that marks are not everything. Okay, so but still, because of the societal conditioning that we have grown up with, we feel that okay, having good marks is a marker that you are good at something, good at academia. So this thing has completely changed because they will be like, I have written all the points that were there in the notes. How did I get less marks? But the thing that remains out of picture is that there's something that most of the teachers do is comparative marking. If we have asked one questions, we are receiving some 60 answers to the same question, and we might find one more fascinating than the other, one more interesting than the other. It's not just listing down points. Sometimes you have to uh, elucidate your answers properly, and so that brings the difference in marking. And I have also like ever since I've started working, I have seen that marks still remains a very soft spot to the students, no matter how unbothered they behave in the classroom. But it is something that can get them on their toes anytime.
Indeed, I think after all, they say the mark sheet says it all. So
Yeah.
somehow, they would be taking the mark sheets, and but of course, what you are rightly mentioning is the fact that as a personality, how they have evolved, what they have learned, maybe certain aspects which are beyond their marks, interpersonal skills and managing events and having those kind of traits and attributes in the personality, which helps them later on in having a successful life. That is
Hmm.
also a part of their learning, which at times gets unnoticed or
And
it gets
a
shadowed.
little tough, it becomes a little tough in subjects like literature
Right.
because it's highly subjective. I remember one of my college professors telling me that this is literature. You cannot be entirely right, you cannot be entirely wrong. So that's why the marks. It's not mathematics that you are just writing 2 plus 2 is 4, so you get the marks. In literature, it can be anything. If you can justify your argument, it can be literally anything. So the marking becomes a challenge for teachers also in this case.
Yes, indeed. Of course, there are certain domains wherein it is subjective. It depends as to how you express yourself, and it is again subjective. Moving ahead from the content part of it, ma'am, towards the to the attributes of a teacher, wherein they want to impart certain qualities into learners, and they are working for the holistic development. So, of course, the content is there. They transfer the subject knowledge to the students. But at the same time, how do you see this come into picture, wherein we talk about the friendly approach of teachers, the teachers who are approachable, and the teachers who treat the students, I wouldn't call it as friends, but with an ease wherein the students, they feel that they are in the right hands and they can speak their minds and hearts out. So how to establish that kind of connection with the students? Because I feel at times that the more the distance is, the lesser interaction is there, and then we do not make an effort to understand what the understanding or the thought process is going in our students' mind.
Yeah, so actually, this is again very much dependent on the times that we are functioning from. So earlier, back when we were in school, we could have teachers who could hit us, who could call us anything in front of the entire class, hit us with a chalk and insult us, call us failures. Matlab, that was the kind of training that we have grown up receiving. And again, to emphasize that how you are dealing with different age groups, teaching begins from the age of if I count play school also, so from the play school till the PhD, and that a student is doing. So depends on the kind of age group that you are functioning with. Like if I talk about my personal experience with students, I am dealing with young adults. They are 20 something students, and uh, some of them in masters they are 23, 24. And what I feel that they are adults, they need to be treated like that. And you cannot impose stuff on that, because sometimes when you hear their background conversations, you understand that how futile is my attempt to impose myself on them, because they are not going to listen. They are not going to listen. They are no longer in school that you threaten them or you just impose yourself on them. They also don't care, because I don't know if I should be using this term, but I don't have a very nice alternative for this. There is a sense of entitlement that is growing among kids nowadays, because of the times that we are living in. We are living in politically correct era, we are living in the woke era. So the kind of language that we use, okay, hitting students is completely off the table. Now, the kind of language that we use in the classroom, you cannot make fun of some student for what he or she is wearing, how he or she looks, what ethnicity, what background that person comes from. You as teacher, you cannot. I apologize every time I misspell a surname, because I don't belong from this culture. So it's highly understood that I will make that mistake. But every time I do it, I apologize, because somebody might take it in the wrong way, that this person said my name in this way. So the dealing becomes different, because it's like it's a zone of mutual respect. You if you want to get respect, you have to give respect. And I am aware of the fact that sometimes it will happen that uh, you being friendly will splash back on you somehow. Students will sometimes take you for granted, they will not listen to you. But I think moderation and balance is the key to everything.
Yes, indeed. I think you beautifully show the panorama from one side, wherein there was an era wherein they would pull their ears or would throw chalks onto them, or they would in public they would insult them in a way that they wanted to bring a change, but perhaps that was the era, and things were okay. They were taken in a positive stride, and the time has come wherein we even apologize when we miss.
So actually, we are what I feel that a lot of us, we have not been able to let go of things that have been said or done to us. Like we still remember the times when we were wrongfully scolded, let's say, and the times when we felt insulted in front of the entire class or whatever. Like this failure thing that I quoted, it is from one of my school teachers. He used to teach us math, and whenever and he used to when he used to hand out the answer papers, he used to tell the marks of the students, and he used to say like this: first failure this, second failure this. And I still think about it, that okay, I cannot use these kind of words. Like there will be immediately a complaint against me if I use this kind of language for my students.
Yeah, indeed. I think the interesting part that comes out through this anecdote of yours is the fact that as a child, we are all, innocent creatures, and the imprints that we have at that tender age that stays forever with us in the entirety of our life. But as far as the teacher is concerned, we feel that, maybe that kind of a procedure that they have gone through, maybe they have no idea as to how to deal with kids. And back then, it was such a common and, practice that was there. But over the years, we have, but the heart, the soft heart, the tender heart of a child hasn't changed. They still take the same imprints, and they would carry on those experiences throughout their life. So that hasn't changed. So that's why, when you talk about this experience, we feel that everyone, I'm sure you would, every participant would share their experiences as well. But yeah, that's true. So how, the way you say, ma'am, in a way that there was a time when the teachers would hand out their answer sheets by saying their marks aloud in the class and saying this is the first failure, to the times wherein we have traveled to the fact that you would say, I apologize if I mispronounce your name. Please don't take it otherwise. You have to be so explicit.
Yeah,
And of course, it is done with a beautiful heart. It's nowhere just to cover it up. It's just because you really feel and you have a thought about it. So we see this whole these extremities, and then the fact that we cannot let ourselves be driven by the students, because being over friendly can also be problematic at times. So you
yeah,
have to find the common ground. That's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that being said, of course, as I said, ki moderation is the key.
Right.
You have to make the students feel that they can come to you with some problems if they have genuine problems. I have also come across students who conveniently get problems during important times like exams or some kind of important submissions. So they feel that we don't understand that, but we do understand ki the timing of your emergency, the timing of these things are very convenient for you people, right? And disciplining them, the whole definition of discipline has changed, and I think it depends from teacher to teacher ki how this teacher is choosing to discipline their lot. Like I personally, I cannot imagine myself shouting at students because it does not work. I have seen my colleagues suffer because of that, walking out of the classroom shouting. It does not work every time because you walk out of the class, so what? This is the Gen Z, they get a free period, they have no remorse. Hardly some one or two students will feel ki, okay, the teacher walked out of the class. So sir, I believe that disciplining is moderation, and moderation is subjective because sir, I am a teacher, but I am also a human being before that, and I have my own nature. If I am somebody who is very introverted, it won't be possible for me to go all hell's broke on these students. I will not be able to do that. But if I'm an extrovert, if I have other ways to manage them, so I can try that. And it is completely on your reception, how you are received in the class. If you are received as somebody who is like a pushover kind of a teacher, then you have to work on your image. You have to take cues. And I always say this when I teach communication, that most of the work when you are like doing you're publicly speaking, it has to be impromptu. You have to see, uh, you have to look at the audience. You have to take cues from them. Are you understanding? Okay, you are not understanding, I will come back again. Some student is making some kind of a face that says ki, okay, this fact did not sit well with me. You revisit that student. So how you choose to bring that equilibrium in your class is completely up to you.
Indeed, I think very interestingly, ma'am, you have said the fact that you have to keep up with the times, and you have to change your personality as a teacher, and you have to understand the audience, in this case, the students, and what they
Hmm.
need. Accordingly, you adapt yourself. For
Hmm.
example, being good, it's good to have emotions, but being too emotional is not something that is desirable from a teacher. So the
Hmm.
teacher might think that I invest so much of energy, time, and interest in this class, but I don't get the same result from
Yeah.
the students. I think they have to tweak their approach, and they have to do it in a different way, which keeps them in their comfort zone, in the sense that they are not too emotional for the fact that they have invested a lot of energy. But at the
Yeah.
same time, they bring the best out of their students. Because the way you say that, when they say, I will not take class anymore with you people, and the teacher leaves the class, that's a free period for the students. They won't have any regret, any remorse for the fact that the teacher has left. So
Hmm.
how to manage this? If you have any experiences of changing the personality, or you've seen people around you, how teachers have worked to work on their emotional aspect, to lower it down and to be more practical, but of course keeping their humane aspect intact, because after all we are human beings, we cannot just completely let it go off.
Yeah.
How do you strike that balance, and how do you move ahead with that?
Um, so personally, I will say that I have been very fortunate when it comes to student reception. I have I have been like, ever since I started my career, I have had some really good bunch of students. I've had bad students, of course, because but I would only like to emphasize on the good ones, that they have helped me. There was I when I started working, it was in COVID, and I was taking online classes. I was struggling with Microsoft Teams, and it was one of my students who had guided me on phone, that how am I supposed to go on about with this, because even back at home my parents were not very well versed with Microsoft Teams. Nobody was there to help me. So I have received quite a kind approach, and even currently I feel that I do have naughty students. I do sometimes they do get out of hand, but they respect me a lot. So I don't have to do a lot to get work done. And secondly, so when I am dealing with bad students, I have my own way of disciplining them. I report them to the authorities. I don't allow them in my class. There has been incidents with me, like when I said that, okay, don't come back to the class, I have not seen that face the entire semester. Okay, the only time they have showed up is to give their exams. So that works fine with me, because I feel that being a teacher in this generation, you cannot force somebody to sit in the class. If you have students who are just sitting inside the class for attendance, they are just going to create ruckus, and the only time something meaningful is going to pop out from their mouth is when you are taking attendance. They will mark themselves present in the class. So forcefully keeping somebody is not the way how I work. And yes, about maintaining the balance, uh, I am currently we are wrapping up the semester at the university, and we have a lot of students who are coming up with medicals, and somebody died in the family, and this and that. So okay, I can consider, but I have to also answer to myself as a professional, as a teacher. So I cannot go over the top and help them out. I can be there for them emotionally, but when it comes to my job, I will have to do what I have to do. If you have not written in the answer sheet, no matter how good of a student you are, you might even touch my feet every day, but if you have not written in the answer copy, I cannot mark you. That's something that will not go well with me morally, because I am very honest with my work. So yes, if you write, you get marks, no matter if you sit quietly, don't respond to me the entire semester. I don't mind, because currently I'm evaluating your answer sheet, I am not evaluating your presence in the class. If I can, there will be a different number to it, but if you have written, you get marks. If your problems are genuine, I can consider to the point till which my protocol allows me to. I cannot go over the top, because that questions my credibility also.
Indeed, I think very beautifully you have said that we have to stay honest to our profession. And even I feel that when the teachers are honest, the way they do their things, their activities, their work in a sincere manner, that also gives a message to the students community that be alert, we do it in a certain way, and not everything is well maintained here. So thank you for that. I would like to go back to that picture, because we have a few more participants who have just joined. And in this
Okay.
picture, I'd like to ask ma'am, if you could throw some light on the fact that how do you see the situation? There's one more important component in this picture. One side we have students, on the other side we have teachers, but in between we see the parents as well. So
Yes.
how do you see the role of parents changing over the span of these years? Because it is the parents that we see this side and then the other side. So are we answerable to the parents as well, and what role do they play in fostering this student-teacher relationship, if at all they play any role?
Yes, sir. So, as the picture shows, that earlier
Yes.
the person in
I'll
question
share,
was the
I'll share
student.
it again. Yeah.
Uh, it was only the student, and now it is the person in question is only the teacher. That why the student has gotten certain marks, and if you ask me to point out differences, you can see that the student is in 2011 wala picture. The student is
Yeah.
very happy ki, okay, I have my parents, two literal adult bodies who are fighting for me, and I can be at a safe space by saying ki, okay, whatever was taught in the class I did not understand, or the teacher did not mark me properly, or the whole thing that it must not have been approached properly. That is why the student was not able to score uh, like what was expected of him. And talking about the role of parents here, back in the day, parents trusted the teachers a lot. So that is why I sometimes I hear a lot of stories where which my elders tell me that okay, we used to say ki marna isko, and पिटाई करना इसकी, ऐसे करना वैसे करना. And now uh, because again emphasizing that we live in a highly political era, so even parenting is that zone which is not untouched from it. Even parents cannot talk to their kids in a certain way. So everything, may this can be good or this can be bad, but everything has actually now come to safeguarding the child, which was meant to be a very positive move earlier. When it began, it was a very noble thought, but now it has only led to growth uh, growth of this behavior in students, where mostly they don't want to work towards it. They are only concerned with the marks. And even the yeah, so one thing that has not changed in both the pictures, that there is parents are heavily dependent on the teacher for the education of their ward. So in 1961 picture, it was like कि, okay, the teacher is right. Okay, and in the 2011 picture, it's like my kid is right. You must have done something wrong. So they are not completely understanding the role of the teacher. The 1961 version, it functions more on the idealized version of a teacher, that she knows everything and all that thing. We also have this doha, I think, which says that Guru Gobind do khade kake lagu paye, balihari Guru aapke jin Gobind diyo bataye. So from that, and in that era itself, we had this concept of student, where uh, I would like to read this out. Wrote it somewhere, that yeah, काक चेष्टा बको ध्यानम श्वान निद्रा तथैव च अल्पहारी ग्रह त्यागी विद्यार्थी पंचलक्षणम. So this was the time of 1961, and to 2011, uh, again there is a heavy ignorance to what is the role of the teacher, what should be expected from a teacher. So that expectation has heightened, or kind of it has remained the same, but the expectation from the students, it has lowered. Like, okay, they are something that has to be worked on. So that, I think, has led to the whole situation in here.
Right. Indeed. Of course, you have very correctly pointed the fact that what were the responsibilities of a student as well, because eating less and having a sleep that compared to that of a dog, because any moment someone wakes you up and you are like in your complete state of alertness. So I think that was the era, but now we are all hooked onto mobile phones late night, and things have changed. So technology has come in a huge way, wherein it has disrupted the whole scenario of our learning and teaching process as well.
Mm-hmm.
Coming point, ma'am, wherein I wanted to talk about the similarities and the differences, because I was just going through some surveys and some videos before starting the session. We were just trying to see as to how to enhance the student-teacher relationship. So we talk about the fact that when teachers say to their students that what do you do in your free time, so the student says, oh, I watch certain K-series drama, or I am into that kind of music, and the teacher says, oh, what is that? I have no idea about it. I think it's completely rubbish. So
Hmm.
that puts the teacher at a position which is at a complete distance from that of a student. So there's a dislike. There's a difference that starts to crop in. But
Yeah.
to maintain this relationship, something that's called similarity is very important. So the moment the teacher says, oh, is it really, what kind of music is that? I have no idea about it, could you tell me more about it? And then the teacher starts to take some interest into it, and slowly and gradually the child, the student also feels that okay, the teacher is interested, and that fosters the relationship between the two. So how do you see this pattern into the picture to strengthen the relationship between the student and the teacher, from the similarity point to the difference point?
Okay. The answer, the most obvious answer to this question is that both the parties will have to accept this thing, that their roles, number one, it's continuously evolving with time. The teacher students relationship in the next decade also, we can't promise that it's going to remain the same. It's going to change. We never knew uh, it before like the COVID came and it changed everything. It was a very big phenomena, and it changed everything. So we have to accept कि it is ever evolving, and we are we have to be aware कि whom we are dealing with. The teacher should be aware कि okay, whether I'm teaching a kindergartner or I'm teaching somebody who is in primary school, senior secondary, college, or I'm dealing with a PhD candidate, that, and the student should also have that respect कि okay, this person here is uh, trying to teach me, trying to, if not teach, let's say, help me out in some way or the other. I'm going to learn something from this particular person who is here. Like oftentimes this is a highly ideological thing that I'm going to say, that if even if you don't learn what to do from a person, you will always learn what not to do from that person. So everything is going to teach you something or the other. So the acknowledgement of the fact that the roles are ever evolving, that is going to help us out a lot. Functioning, number two, functioning from a place of mutual respect for both the parties. Okay, humanize the teacher. The teacher is also human. They have personal problems too, they have emotions too, and it's not just that they are some kind of a tape recorder that you will just play and that person will start talking about stuff कि okay, आज इस बात का lecture है, तो just press the tape recorder and I will say all the knowledge that is available in all the books. So have the mutual respect for each other's roles. Teachers should also um, try to be a little kind to the students, because uh, I have seen students who actually genuinely are going something back at their homes, something emotionally, and they are at the age where they are also growing. This is a transition phase for them. So emotionally, physically, they are going through a lot. So back at home, they have parents, but at the place of study, they have you. You are the responsible adult over there. So be respectful to their journeys. Uh, Try to be inclusive, because I might have pointed out that we don't say a few things anymore, but I know that some teachers, they are still functioning from the decade, like almost from 5 decades back. So the language that they use, the approach that they use for teach the students, it does not sit well with them. So I think we should create a very functioning uh, an environment where the student feels included. Now I'm not just talking about racial inclusivity out here. I'm talking about some student might be very interested, very good at the subject. Okay, this is something that he or she always wanted to do. There might also be students who were just forced by their parents and who are sitting here just to get the degree, and they are having troubles in understanding the subject because uh, it is not something that they wanted to do. So naturally वो interest नहीं आ रहा है उन्हें उस चीज में. So you have to facilitate that. The whole concept of having a slow learner in the class, having a fast learner in the class, as teachers, this is the area where you step up. Every student who is sitting inside your class, that person, that student should feel some kind of value that he is taking. A slow learner should feel that he was attended to, and a fast learner also should take back something from the class. So that is how I think we are going to like function, and making our students a little bit more like as everybody says that teaching is a very responsible job. You are creating the future. So what kind of a future are you creating? So I often hear students, sometimes they not in front of me, but yes, when they are talking amongst themselves, the conversations are very bad. Matlab, they are not a good valuable, matlab, not something that would come out from the mouth of somebody who is receiving education. So kind of it becomes our job to facilitate uh, critical thinking, opinion building, and not just opinions for social media. It should be opinions for like like genuine opinions कि आपने कहीं से कुछ पढ़ा है, कुछ solid पढ़ा है, and based on that you are creating your opinions. So I think कि in today's date, where students are not able to answer this question कि okay, why are you doing this degree, they don't have any solid answer for that. So बहुत strong need है that we push them towards critical thinking and opinion building. And we have to, as teachers, we will always be facing new challenges, whether we are teaching now, whether we are teaching 5 years from now, 10 years from now, there will be new challenges. So there will always be new opportunities for engagement as well. Challenges are opportunities, so you have to evolve. If you stay rigid कि okay नहीं हमारे टाइम पे तो ऐसा होता था, तो I think that is not going to fly. You have to come 2 steps ahead, only then the other party will come 2 steps ahead. Okay. And having said this, I will also emphasize that being a teacher, no matter what, you have to stay 1 step ahead from your students.
Yes, indeed. I think you have told it in a very interesting way that both the parties have to make an effort to come closer to each other, and only then we would be able to sustain that kind of a relationship. And the point that you rightly mentioned is the differential pedagogy, that every student feels that he or she is a part of the class based on their competencies, but of course to make it in a way that there's a lot of variety in the class teaching, that also becomes tricky for the teacher to do it in a span of like say 1 hour. But then of
Hmm.
course doing it in a way that everyone feels a part of the course curriculum that comes from the teacher side, and the critical approach, the critical thought process that has to be developed, and the child in the end feels, the student in the end feels that yes, I can solve some practical problem, some application based kind of an approach I have developed in myself. I think that is the real victory of the student and the teacher, wherein they bring
Hmm.
a change in the society. I think you have very beautifully said that, ma'am. I would open the session now for everyone, in case if you have any experiences, any questions for ma'am, or you would like to share as to how you have seen education and the teaching scenario change over the years. You're most welcome for the same. So I see Shubhashish raising his hand. Yeah, Shubhashish, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. It was really like refreshing, and it was wonderful. Listening to your experience and your ideas. It also made me think a lot because I myself, I'm also in this profession of teaching, and as Jayavardhan said, know that I'm highly critical. I like to criticize everything. So,
Hmm.
just I would like to start with a small shlok which shows the attitude of the present day students. Like Adhunik Vidyarthi. This will be in Hindi.
Hmm.
आदि
Hmm.
आधुनिक विद्यार्थी एकलव्य की भांति देता नहीं अंगूठा काटकर, परंतु वो चुकाते हैं गुरु दक्षिणा अंगूठा दिखाकर.
Right.
Okay, so this is what I feel, like when we were students, I mean, like we were scared and we had the respect for each and every teacher. And like even till now, when I see the teacher who taught me in class KG, sometimes I see her maybe on the road, on the railway station. The first thing that comes to my mind is I touch her feet, although she's a Christian. Why?
Hmm.
Because it is like, like our way of showing the respect. That till
Hmm.
now, in KG, I was about, let's say, 4.5 or 5 years old. Now I'm quite older. But this kind of attitude, I think it lacks a lot, because most of the students, I won't say all, but most of the students, they don't have any respect for the teacher.
Yeah.
That is what I feel, in my opinion. Second point I would like to highlight, nowadays, I don't know whether it will be right for me to use the word professional. The teachers have reached, to this level to such an extent, they don't think themselves to be the teacher. For them, salary is the main thing. And I've often observed many teachers, they don't get that, you know, encouragement to teach because the salary is low.
Hmm. Hmm.
If
Hmm.
the low paid, अरे यार इतना कम salary में क्या पढ़ाएंगे? So this
Hmm.
kind of mentality is not a mentality of a teacher. It's a purely professional. The
Yes.
more money I get, the more I'll be encouraged to teach. So what is your opinion? Like, how far do you agree with me in this respect?
Shubhashish, sir, I would like to say that okay, you said you use the word professionalism, and what I understand by the word professionalism is one's respect towards their profession. So, yes, I know that teaching does not pay a lot. So, if there are teachers who feel that I'm not getting paid that much कि मैं इतना effort डालूं, तो that is not professionalism because they are not being true to their profession. I think just like the students who are just sitting for a degree, there are teachers who are just there for the paycheck, and I think that's how it is. So yeah, and
Yeah, I
also
also Yeah, I
agree
also
with
feel that
the
professionalism is not the right word, but I don't know what to use over here. Where if you get paid more, then only you have the feeling. I can't express this in one single word, so I'm just looking for that word. Although professionalism is indeed not the right word for this context.
yeah, right. So,
Right.
yes, I
So
do agree with certain points. Ki yes, the difference, the definition of respect has changed a lot. We acknowledge our kindergarten teachers as well, but if you talk about us, the students that you have taught last semester might not acknowledge you inside the university itself. Okay, so that's something, I think that's the gift, or that's something that comes along with the times that we are teaching in, because there's as I said in my talk that the role and expectation from the teachers are changing, and the picture that sir showed, the teacher has somehow become the person who is serving you. Okay, so because of that approach also, a lot of times students don't give you that acknowledgement that you deserve outside the class, sometimes inside the class. Like, I am a firm believer of this fact that if you respect me, I will know. You don't have to touch my feet. You don't have to do extraordinary gestures to show that you respect me. I'm strictly talking about college teaching. I'm not talking about school teaching, because in school you do have to emphasize on certain behavior, like disciplinary behavior. Okay, so I don't emphasize on that, but yes, I do sometimes look back on the way how we talk, spoke to our teachers, and how our students are talking to us. Like, we could
yes.
not directly just call them anytime. Okay, but now if the student is in problem, that student will call you, and they will call you as in a very key. Okay, it's your job to pick up my call right now and tend to my queries. So that is something that has come with time, sir.
Right. Ma'am, I think what Shubhashish meant, I think I totally understand with your answer as well, that the fact that it has become more transactional. So I'm there for responsibility, but you rightly mentioned, Sneha ma'am, that I have to do my duty honestly, and that's what Shubhashish, so I'm sure he meant the same thing. But doing extra than what we were supposed to do earlier, wherein we had a lot of empathy and connection, and we were even getting to know as to what is happening in your personal life, how is your family doing as a student. So I think there we have really cut short a lot, and we are really becoming too transactional as to I'm there for a reason. I do it with the complete honesty to my profession, my dedication, even the salary that I'm drawing. I have to do it in a way that it justifies that. And then, of course, then I have to limit myself so that I know how to balance my emotions and not to go towards the side that I'm too emotional for my job at times.
Yes, sir. So
Yeah.
just like I said earlier, also, we need to humanize the teacher. We what Shubhashish sir said. It is a very human thing to feel disappointed. Like all of us, no matter what profession we are there in, there will be a time when we all will feel the burnout that we talk about. Ki, okay, I'm doing in so much, but I'm not getting that. And sometimes it's no longer just about money, it's also about the respect, it's also about the satisfaction that the job gives to you. Okay, so it's very human, and we need to embrace the emotions that come to us as human beings also. Like, we are too fixated on being the teacher, but we are forgetting that we are also humans first.
Indeed, indeed. I think that brings us to the fact that there is something called Pygmalion effect.
Yeah.
When you treat certain people in a certain way, you get the response in a similar way.
Yeah.
So if we really exhibit our emotions to people, we get back their emotions as well. But if we are too transactional, we are too firm, I think the same is the kind of approach we will have. So I think it's the way we would want to conduct and steer the whole the conduction of the class and the way the class unfolds for us. Moving ahead, we'll quickly have
Thank you, ma'am.
thank
Thank
you,
you.
Shubhashish, for your point. Tanuja, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am, as you said that students have become very entitled these days. The latest I would like to share, um, in the institute where I teach. Yesterday we had an issue raised. A student has complained that the invigilator is too strict. So like, how like how does the invigilator behave? Invigilator hardly speaks. So
Yes.
like this is becoming very complicated and a very dangerous profession.
Yeah, it is, ma'am. Actually, it is. And I also do have a lot of these kind of anecdotes where it's very confusing. You have to be true to your job. Okay, I am a teacher, and there are some boundaries that I have to draw. I am an invigilator. I cannot if the protocol tells me that I'm not to allow you to go outside for these 3 hours, I will not be allowing you. Now, I have also faced this issue that, okay, ma'am, how are we supposed to sit here for 3 hours if we have some medical emergency, if we have this, if we have that? They start arguing with it. But, ma'am, at in these situations, all we can do is that stay firm to what has been told to us, because we are there doing our job, and also pointing out that we, as I said, ki we are supposed to like coexist with our students, but we have to stay still one step ahead from them. We have to assert ourselves.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Tanuja. Thank you, ma'am. Shampa, over to you for your question, for your comments.
Good morning, everyone. Good
Good
morning,
morning.
sir.
Good
Good
morning,
morning,
Shampa.
Sneha ma'am.
Good morning.
Well, I would like to add one thing over here that being a teacher, what I have experienced is that knowledge is for sharing. The more we share, the more we gain. Of
Yeah.
course, I had a lot of negative experiences, but
Mm-hmm.
I think we can overcome all those things. The way we make them show, actually, we basically show us. We should be the icon. They should follow us. So if we are the way we projectors, the way we show them that, okay, so I want this and this things from you. I would like to share one small incident. It happened with me, like being an IELTS trainer. In my initial days, I had a student. It's always like one-on-one call. So I had a student, like in the morning, 9, yeah. So I just asked him that it's a very common question. Have you finished your assignments that I have given you before? So he, I don't know what happened. He immediately just left the call. He mailed my organization
Hmm.
that this lady, she is very rude and all and all and all and all. So he wrote uh, so many things. What I did immediately is that I wrote another mail within, within that, let's say, okay, so if you think that asking you for your assignments and all, have you done or not, that is being rude, I'm sorry for that.
Hmm.
If you think I'm on time, because you are never on time. So I start the class on 9 and you join at 9:15. If you think that is also okay, so I'm sorry for that. So I started doing like this. Then this person turned around and said, "No, ma'am, I'm sorry." This time he told me that I am sorry. So that was an experience.
Yes,
So this
ma'am.
happened.
Like your experience is like what sir, the image sir had shared. Ki teacher isn't question even for asking. Like back in our times, we just had to submit. If we did not submit, we did not get marks. Sometimes some teachers were so strict that even late submissions were not allowed. And now we have come to this for to apologize just for asking whether or not we have submitted. You have submitted your things.
So, this is the, this is this generation, they are different than us. Our
Hmm.
generation, we were taught like you will have to give them respect no matter what, even
Yes.
if they have ill spoken,
Yes. Yes.
even if that person is rude. So my mom and my dad, they used to tell us that no matter what,
Hmm.
he or she is your teacher, and
Hmm.
that should be the last thing. So no matter what, you are not supposed to say that this teacher is rude, that means, in my house, if I came home after school and I started that, mama, the teacher was there, mama never used to say that, no topic, no, no, sorry, no discussions regarding this topic. So that
Yeah.
was dead
True,
end for
true.
me.
Yeah, true. Very true, ma'am. Matlab, I have followed this. Matlab, I still follow it. Like I am quite if I whenever I face a senior professor at my job, I give them that respect of my teacher. Ki if there is a room where I'm sitting and a senior professor walks in, I stand up and I do offer my chair. So that is something how we were raised, like what the values that we grew up with. Okay, but this generation does not have that, and we all will have to have some different strategies of schooling them, because we need to command the respect that we should be getting as a teacher.
Oh,
And
well, yeah. Sorry to interrupt
please,
you, ma'am.
please complete it, ma'am.
No, 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 it's okay. I'm so sorry, extremely sorry. I just interrupted.
No,
So,
you don't have to be sorry. Yeah. So again, like mm, I would like to emphasize that this is the time of collaboration. We are also learning, because there is AI in the scene, and as scary as it may sound, AI is doing our job. It is giving the information. Now that students have the information, they just need somebody to interpret that in more easy terms. And what scope do we have here now? Because information to mil gayi na bachcho ko. Now earlier there were these thick books, and the teacher used to read it, and they used to explain things to students. Unke paas koi exposure nahi tha. Now you have 15-second reels that explain a concept maybe better than you could do. Okay, and there's so much around. So the role of teacher has in a very frightening manner, it has reduced. So now what is happening inside the classroom, both the teacher and the students, we are both learners, so we have to foster an environment of collaboration, meanwhile always upholding our role as a teacher. Because I think respect is a basic human value, and everybody deserves respect, teacher ho ya student ho. And because of the protocol, teachers are supposed to somehow get it more, because yes, disrespect is not acceptable. So
so
Indeed.
what I saw is that Like nowadays, we are very much burdened with a lot of things. Like even the students are also burdened, as we are pressurized from the the top, and the students are also demanding that
Yeah,
the assignments are more. This is so the syllabus is more, and we
yeah.
need to complete that in a very small span of time. So these things, obviously, there are some difficulties, challenges
Hmm.
always will be there. But I would rather also say that there are some students who
Hmm.
are they are very, they respect their teachers, and I have
Agreed.
seen them, that is the upbringing, that's the
Hmm.
upbringing they have from the childhood. That is
Yes.
something, the I would rather say that totally relies upon the mother or the father, means house, or the grandfather, or the grandparents, you can say. What they see, they follow. if
Yes.
they if
Yes.
they see in the house that, okay, so they are respecting the elders in the
Hmm.
house, so automatically the kids will start respecting the elders, no matter what, if that person, even if that person is very rude or something like that.
Yes, ma'am. But I slightly have an addition to your point. Like you said, yes, I do believe that charity begins at home. Okay, but give yourself a little credit here. If a student is respecting you, that means you have left an impact on that student. Okay, somehow. And I have sometimes seen that uh, a very shocking student, matlab, a student who has never given respect to any teacher, that student is listening to you. So I feel that is the credit of the teacher. He or she felt that you were somebody he could look up to and give respect. Okay, so this is one. And second is that I would like to go back to my point where I emphasized that students need to be given that facility, that space of opinion creation. Okay, not that matlab, how nowadays students are judging us, how they get to decide that whether or not this teacher is worth listening to, this teacher is worth giving respect to. They are just judging us based on our knowledge. They but they need to know that there are many parameters that make a good teacher. uh, we have focused this entire session on how what are the changes, what are the differences, but I would like to point out one particular thing that has remained the same. Ki abhi bhi, even in this generation, there are some teacher student relationships that have crossed the boundaries of the educational institution or the classroom. Okay, they will come to you with personal problems. They will treat you like your mother, your sister, and they will ask for help, and they will be there if you need them. Okay, so I think टेक्नोलॉजी कितनी भी आ जाए, कुछ भी आ जाए, it cannot replace the human connection that you can build with your student. And I do realize that we most of the times, even we teachers are running here and there, we have a lot of pressure, we have managerial tasks, we have admin tasks, and at that time you have your own frustrations. You cannot just always keep being kind to every person that you meet. But I think that uh, all these three things, the home part, the the impact that you have left on the student, and lastly his or her opinion, his or her evaluation of you, how is that person creating it, all these constitute to the good students that we get.
Indeed, I think that's a multifactorial component that come into play and shape the relationship between teachers and students. And of course, the way you rightly mentioned, ma'am, about the fact that the student is supposed to have that liberty to express what he or she thinks. I think in Shampa's case, wherein she says that the student said something, she gave that liberty to the student to say whatever he wanted to say. And then she very politely said that if you did not like the fact that being on time is not good, then I'm sorry. So that's how students think, oh, I got a chance to express myself, and the teacher did not take it the other way. So that somehow settles the whole case. So I feel that when other person gets a chance to express, I think the whole question boils down to the fact that to express oneself is also very important when the
Just
students feel
a
they get a
slight,
chance.
and just a
Yeah,
slight more addition that yes,
yeah,
we when we teach students to create opinions, it's like handing them a grenade. Now you
right.
have to also teach them how to express them respectfully. Because
respectfully.
what I have seen that like I have been a very opinionated person for most of my life. Okay, but till now I struggle to how to express them respectfully. Sometimes I am at loss of words. So earlier what I used to do, I did not say anything, because rather than saying anything bad, I would rather keep my mouth shut. So it's important to have opinions. It is important to express opinions, but in a way that is highly professional and respectful to the others, because everybody has something or the other going on, and it stays with you. Okay, some bad word or anything, matlab any negative word, it can stay with you forever. So it's very important to be kind.
Absolutely. I think in the heat of the moment, people might end up saying certain things that they didn't wish to say because they did not know the art to articulate well, to put it across. I think very rightly mentioned, ma'am. So thank you, Shampa, for that beautiful experience. And we'll quickly wrap up by taking last point from
Thank you,
Shubhashish.
sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shampa. Yeah, Shubhashish, quick point from
Thank
your
you,
side.
sir. Just one small thing,
Yeah.
now, as you know, as because of AI and the development in the field of technology, in Bangalore, they have like invented robot teacher. So, ma'am, how would you think, like, what would be the relation between the student and the robot teacher?
Now that's something that is completely on imagination, because as far as I have the knowledge of this, how this field works, this is also ever evolving. So I cannot even get away by saying that okay, human, there will still be some difference between human and the machine out there. They will improvise on that only. But sadly, I only have this thing to say, that nothing can replace human compassion, human understanding, the emotional intelligence that we have. I think no machine, no AI, how smart it is. I'm speaking from 2024 December. It cannot replace human thing. Like any machine cannot, up until now. So
Perfect.
that's what it's
Indeed.
been.
Yes.
Indeed, ma'am, indeed.
I think
No,
the
no, technology. I would rather say technology can never replace teachers
Yeah.
or mentors or whoever it is. Like, this is something, a place. I always believe that teaching is a beautiful profession. I have got lots and lots of students who
Yeah.
really, where they are living throughout the world. So
right.
they
Hmm.
respect me so much. They come back to me and they say, "Ma'am, we miss you. The
Mhm.
way you, not only I have taught him or her something, but the way I have behaved with him, the emotional bonding we have,
True.
that's
Yeah.
very important."
True. I
I
think
have a student
I
beautifully.
over here.
do.
I just want to add one thing. I have a student. I still remember him. Like every time in Christmas, he's a Christian. He stays in Mumbai. Every time, even like if I share something, uh, he will say, "Ma'am, how are you? How are you doing?" Every time. So I'm so grateful to God that I have received such
Yeah.
beautiful
And
students. Wonderful.
that's the moment when you feel that everything is paying off. Like
Yes.
the
Yeah.
money will suddenly not matter. And
Money certainly doesn't
and
matter.
personally what I do, I have a folder which is titled Why I Teach. And in that I have uh, messages and some notes that my students wrote to me, and I write down certain incidents which made me feel so loved and touched and everything. And whenever I have these doubts, I'm too young in this journey to have doubts, but yes, whenever I do have them, I go to that folder and I read that. Ki why? What is this job giving me? This is giving me the blessing of staying mentally young. When you interact with
Indeed.
youngsters, you never get old. You never get old.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that is the beauty of this profession, that we never get old and we are always filled with the young and dynamic ideas because of the people that we are surrounded with.
Yeah.
So, with that, we have come to the end of our today's session. We wanted to really go on and on and on with that, but looking at the paucity of time, we'll have to stop it here. I sincerely thank Sneha ma'am for your wonderful insights and wonderful inputs for
Thank you.
this enriching session.
It was lovely. It was lovely. It was so interactive, and I really loved how the talk unfolded. Like it was discussion based, and it really helped to gain some kind of solidarity of
Absolutely.
experience.
Absolutely. The way you rightly mentioned that we have people around us who are in the same field and we can always strengthen and support each other.
Yeah.
And I would also like to thank all the participants for their kindness and their support and the participation, so active participation in this session. With that, we are wrapping the session up. I wish you all a great day ahead. Take care of yourself. And we are in a great profession of teachers. Bravo for that. And keep inspiring people. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.